Okay, here we go. Oh, it's been a long day. Welcome, Jay.
Hello.
Welcome. It's good to have you here. It's been
It's
a
good to be
while.
back. It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a while. Well, I hear you've been still staying up on true crime.
Oh
We
yeah.
got
Yeah,
yeah,
oh
we got
yeah.
some cases. We got some cases today. Anybody that sees the thumbnail knows that we are definitely going to be talking about Rex Heuermann, Long Island serial killer, allegedly, and Luigi Mangione are supposed terrorists. Got issues. Both of these cases are out of the state of New York. Now, yeah.
Hang on just a
Yeah,
second, Claire.
yep, no problem. Hi, Nippet. Hi, Raven. Nice to see you in the chat, guys. I know it's going to be a slow start. Um, we've had quite the day. Hey, Shill, thanks for being here. Thank you for the orders. Could definitely use some orders in a cup of coffee. We got two interesting cases to talk about tonight, both of them out of the state of New York. Good evening tomorrow, kiddo. Boop to you too. It is nice to see you. I hope you're having a good day. We are just off the live coverage of Laura Divallo's day 3 trial coverage. We caught it before the last witness. I will put up a video of the last witness. They did have some audio problems during the last witness at the end, which was very frustrating. But that'll be coming out later tonight to finish that. But hey, Jay, you're back. Good. Hey,
Yeah, I'm
look
back. Sorry.
I look at the trees. It's good to see you too. All right, so let's get which case. Okay, let me just I actually have to bring up my presentation. Because we did a whole nother thing here. Let's just see. I don't know where it went. I think I closed it by mistake because I do crazy stuff like that. But here we go. Out of these two, which two of these gentlemen did have New York cases against them, the state of New York here? Because although those of you familiar with Luigi Mangione know that he has multiple cases going, it is the state of New York case that they're prosecuting first. So we're going to primarily focus on that, but we will be mentioning the others just in regards to charges and a little bit of an update. Rex
Oh,
Heuermann,
look at the
yeah,
trees wants to do Lisk.
yeah, you want to do Lisk first? Okay. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me just make sure that I have this in. I don't think that's the order I have it in. So I'm going to pull it down for a second because I don't want to make everybody like crazy with it flipping around and have anybody like have a seizure on me or anything like that. It would not be good. And let me just get it to the. I only have like a couple of pictures, but I do like to leave stuff up. Um, there we go. There is Rex Heuermann charged with multiple murders, right, Jay? Like
Seven counts.
seven now, and that's two
Yeah.
amended indictments. We started with three, right? Then we added
Started with
Barnes.
3. Yep. Started with
Yeah,
3. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put it?
yeah.
There it is.
I'm gonna
So we
let
got
you talk about
yeah.
our victims here. To refresh yourself there.
So we've got one, two, let me scroll down to the bottom. It's got a better list. So we got murder in the first degree, murder in the second degree. Nope, that's Mangione's. Never mind. I pulled up the wrong one.
That's okay. It
There
happens.
we
It
go.
happens. Okay.
All right. Well, I got both the I have the bail application form up for
Mm-hmm.
Harriman. And I got the people versus and then the state of New York versus Mangione. So I just clicked on the wrong one. So the first one we got is murder in the first degree. 1, 2, 3 charges on that. That's for Melissa Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello.
Right. That
And we
happened July 2023, right?
yep. And then we've got murder in the second degree for Melissa Barthélemy. Excuse me, Barthélemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. That's those two. So
Added Maureen.
that's the original. That's the original.
Right. And then in that January 2024, they added Maureen Barnes.
Yeah.
Her body was found at the same time as the other three, but they were compiling the evidence together and did not add her to the indictment until January of 2024. And then in June of 2024. We added four. We added that's when we added Jessica Taylor and Sandra Castillo, correct?
Yep, there it is. I'm
Yeah.
like, where did I put that one? Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
Harriman is charged with two more murders on June 6th in 2024 for the murder of Taylor and Castillo.
Mm-hmm.
And then just recently, a seventh victim. And I don't have that one. I thought I did.
That would be December 17th of 2024. They finally indicted him for the murder of Valerie Mack, another
Valerie
body.
Mack. That was
Right.
the name.
That is number 7. So we've got either first degree or second degree murder for all of them. Okay. They're trying to tie all the evidence together. And this becomes very important right now because currently in the state of New York, they're having what they call a Fry hearing, correct, Jay? They
Yep.
they are going over whether or not they can introduce DNA evidence for the rootless hair DNA testing that's being done because the type of DNA testing that's being done has never been allowed in the courts in New York before. Not, but it hasn't been tried either. It has been allowed in others throughout the country, and it is scientifically known. But currently, every 1 day a week for the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've been having, the prosecution's been bringing in expert witnesses that are testifying into the reliability and how this DNA testing is done. It is nuclear DNA testing, and it's very valuable in cold cases, Jay, right? I mean, they use
Yeah.
this a lot in cold cases for
And yeah, it
identification.
was especially pulled up in cold cases. It's one of the big things that we'll get, as we've seen in the past, where it would actually exonerate
Right.
inmates. Because the DNA testing knowledge has increased so much that they can actually pull more accurate
Mm-hmm.
DNA
Mm-hmm.
and finding people that uh, were found guilty but weren't actually guilty. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe it's the same DNA type that they used for the was it Green River Killer when they
I
used
think they did
same
whole
DNA.
genome, yes,
Yep.
whole genome sequencing because you don't need the root on the hair.
Nope.
They can use just a smaller amount of DNA, and it's used mostly for DNA that's breaking down into the components, and that's valuable in this case because these bodies have been out exposed. The period of time has been quite long. Some of these go back to 1993, and so it is very important that they use all types of DNA testing that they have available. And since the DA Ray Tierney, I'm going to change the picture here. First, I'm going to let you know that that's Michael Brown. That is the defense attorney uh, for Rex Heuermann, and he's fighting tooth and nail to keep this DNA out because without the DNA, it's very hard to connect him to the bodies because it's not even his DNA in some cases, it's his daughter's and his wife's. They are rootless hairs that he just transported to the bodies, allegedly, when he prepared them for disposal, wrap them in burlap and all of that other stuff. Like it was either on the tape or the burlap or somewhere on the body, on the clothing,
It
and
was
it's
found on it was
transferred.
found on the burlap that
Mm-hmm.
one of them that she was wrapped
Mm-hmm.
in.
Mhm. In a previous true crime illegal update, I did a whole breakdown on the DNA with a table and everything, where the DNA was found, who it was found on, who it was tied to, and which type of DNA testing linked them. Because here's the kicker: even if they throw out this type of testing, which is more confirmatory, they still have the other, which still links them to a parameter, to a percentage that it is definitely from the family of Harriman, the three of
Yeah.
them. I mean, they're still going to be able to bring in evidence to link into the majority of the cases. Okay. But it is more beneficial for the older bodies, the older specimens, I should say, the DNA specimens that they collected, to be able to use this whole genome type testing because it's more accurate for a percentage. It really limits it down to who it could possibly be. Uh, And so we're hoping that it gets through. Did you hear anything about the hearings, Jay? Because it was quite interesting. It was
No,
quite
I don't. That's your thing.
okay.
I like
Well,
looking at the aftermath stuff. So
okay. So let me just tell you that they brought in this professor, and I'm hoping I can remember her name because, like, it's been a busy week. So people forgive me if I'm a little bit off, like with the names and stuff, because wow. Okay. So during the week before, okay, in an unconventional move, prosecutors played a clip from the 1993 film Jurassic Park. One of the professors, Dr. Nicole Wardoristi, an assistant professor of forensic science, testified that whole genome sequencing is an effective and reliable method of DNA analysis. But it was actually the one before, and I don't remember her name. Damn it. I know I have it here in my notes somewhere, but there was another one who actually worked in New York and then has transferred out and came back in. And they played that Jurassic clip in. I was like, they were like, yeah, well, whole genome testing, it works for bringing back the dinosaurs. Like, why not for convicting Rex Harriman? Okay. Like, why
you
not
must
forget a
you must
serial
be
killer?
talking about Dr. Kelly Harris.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
See,
she's a
teamwork.
genome
Teamwork.
scientist from Harvard and Cambridge.
That's right. And she testified first that they played the little. She says she uses that clip to explain to people what this type of testing can accomplish, and it was effective. It really was. But the defense has not really been able to do their counter experts yet. We've got two more experts that Ray Tierney. Let me bring him up. I just I have a thing for our Mr. Tierney here because like he developed the task force after all these cold cases were there.
Oh
He's the
yeah,
one
that guy. Yep.
that yes,
Yeah.
yes. He actually got the funding together and
Yep.
he's been a victim advocate here on this and he has helped solve unsolved crimes all over Suffolk County. He's
Yeah.
been all on it. I'm covering a few of his cases. There's some dismemberments that went on and some other things. Like, what's going on in Suffolk County
Yeah.
that people just like to
He's the one that took over after they ousted Burke.
That's right, right. He and
Yep.
the new police commissioner developed this task force, and I think it was the Commissioner Stanley. They actually came forward, developed this task force, and they've been gangbusters at getting this done. Actually, bringing the FBI in, all the resources they can, missing persons, everything that they can, all kinds of new technology, experts in all fields, and they're doing a bang up job. Now it's at the prosecution end. You know, they've been on Rex Harriman for years. We know that. They did great surveillance on him. They actually got his arrest warrants based on a pizza crust. Okay. Hey. you know, he
Well,
threw
there's a
gas.
little more to it than that, but yeah.
Well, it was in the arrest warrant. Like they could
Yeah,
identify him,
it was in the
you
rest
know.
for him, but they how they got onto him was a
Uh,
eyewitness identified his vehicle, and they
the green truck, right?
yeah
Like the green
Avalanche,
vehicle.
Chevy Avalanche.
Yeah, yeah, it's big. It's a
Yeah,
big
and
vehicle there.
no,
Yep.
some witness seen it around the time one of the victims went missing, and
hmm
they linked it back to him, and then they trailed him for
hmm
weeks until they stumbled upon the pizza
hmm
crust. But they also took a soda can out of the garbage from his daughter too.
They did it, but it was my point being it was DNA that sealed the
Yeah.
search warrant from the grand jury. They had other stuff too. Once they had that, going
Oh,
through his
once.
phone records and his surveillance and everything, the man was not very clever. Well, he
No,
thought he was clever.
he thought he was
He,
clever.
he thought he was clever. He had a whole manifesto on how to do everything. He'd been at this from what they could tell on things they found on his computer through the search and seizure. The stuff that we have seen have been handwritten notes on how to do things better, actually linking things to addresses. These are all escorts and prostitutes that he would actually meet up with and make arrangements. He used other phones to do that instead of his home phone, which was
Yeah,
smart, except they caught him on video in the shop buying the phones.
yeah.
yeah.
And then
And he,
the one
and
one of
he
the
did like to delete the messages and he kept the phones. That's
yeah
a
one of
problem.
the funny ones that I thought one of his notes was must hit him harder.
Yes, because she moved around too much,
Yeah,
apparently. Like she fought back too
I
much. Yeah.
must hit him harder, must hit him faster,
hmm
and
He made
bring
notes.
yeah
Yeah.
just notes and
hmm
for those of you that have been around for a while, when I was around before, what is one of my absolute number one thing not to
Don't
do?
talk to the police. Get a lawyer and don't talk.
Don't talk to the police and don't take trophies.
No, he did. And one of the other things that he did that I found astounding, that maybe you all will remember for some of our previous episodes, was that he literally called the sister of one of the victims
Yes,
to
he
intimidate
creeped
her,
on her.
and he really creeped on her. Like, I guess he wanted to find out what that would be like. He really had a fascination. He had books, how-to books. Like, listen, he was into it. He'd been doing
Oh
it for
yeah.
a while. But one of the very curious things is that we could test DNA. The DNA that's doing him in isn't his. He probably protected himself very well. It's actually transferred DNA, and it actually goes back to supposedly his first wife, because in the house that he lived with his mother and his first wife, at that period of time, the new DNA sample is to this person number 3, which was interviewed, and I researched it. That's when he was living with Elizabeth in the house with his mother that he bought later, and it's the same time frame. Now, it doesn't say in the document that it's definitely his first wife, but she is cooperating, and did give a DNA sample, and it did match in those hairs too, and that's how come they have so many bodies,
Mm.
because apparently, he's not thinking about the transfer that you can bring. I mean, if you watch anything on
Well,
DNA,
no,
transfer
go ahead.
DNA and hairs and stuff like that, they're everywhere. Like, they're everywhere. I mean,
Except in this case. Now they
no,
found a couple here and there, but other than that, the bodies were clean. They had
yeah, because
no other forensic evidence.
yeah, and it is in their theory that he took time to clean the bodies and make
Mm.
sure, because he did have a tendency to do things with the bodies. He has documented it. So,
Oh yeah.
and but he did actually didn't want to get caught, and he had a whole procedure that he did, and there's all of this stuff that he did. Thank you, Mrs. Cassandra. I just saw your message. I don't want to make this about that, but thank you very much for that. I did just hit over 8,000 subscribers,
Yeah,
kind of.
I was gonna mention that. Congrats on the 8.15.
Yeah, that kind of happened yesterday overnight. Apparently, the video I did last Saturday with Wrecker on the 50th law hit the algorithm, and I got a lot of subs from that. Like that video right there.
You can't beat
But
that.
no, and my true crime has been like, I think I finally hit the algorithm there, G. I think YouTube's finally treating me right for a while, because I'm still doing the same thing I always did. I'm not doing anything
Mm.
different, but
Yeah,
anyway.
sometimes it just takes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy about it. Thank you to everybody that subbed. Thank you to everybody that encourages me. But to me, it's just, if you like the content, that means more to me. Like, hit the back of the video and tell me if you like it or how I can change it. Like, that actually means more. Seriously. I know that sounds corny, but it's true. It's actually true with me. But yeah, I'm fascinated with the DNA aspect of this case. Lately, almost every case I cover is coming down to DNA and cell phone
Mm.
towers
Yeah,
and,
I mean that's
kind of digital information.
nowadays that's what's gonna get you the most is the DNA. You leaving your DNA and electronic trail.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, thank you so much. I got to excuse me for one moment. I'll put
No
this up.
worries.
Thank you so much, dear. Thank you, Shill. Thank you for being here from the start, the same as Mrs. Cassandra. I really appreciate you. I'm going to put that in the document fund. That one's going in, because you already sent me coffee money this morning. She bought me a cup of coffee. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do. It's just, yeah, I am about, I am thrilled about it. I never thought it would be as big as it is, and I never really worked to make it bigger. Actually, Jay, you know that I don't do the YouTube things very well. um, yeah. So,
Yeah. Well, I
so
think I can hit the out to lunch host off on a tangent on my bingo card.
yeah, do we have that? I don't think we ever entered that one in here, but we could
It's
just
on
make it
there.
off.
It's in
Yeah.
ILG for me,
Oh,
anyways.
so host out to lunch, yes. They would
Yeah.
probably, because I would when I do live trials, like I definitely don't sit there for the hour anymore. My voice just can't take it with all the stuff that I'm doing, like sitting there talking that long all in the breaks. But I do enjoy the live chat. I do enjoy going back and forth. It's just crazy now because I'm covering two of the trials, like because Karen Reed's going to start any day now too, and then I'm really going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
But
that one. I don't know a lot about that one, but I do know some, and yeah.
it's crazy. You probably, if you don't know anything about it, my advice is don't learn anything about it. It's just going to
Yeah.
frustrate you. Thank you,
That
Shill, for the gifted memberships. 5 gifted memberships. I am definitely going to. She gifted you one too, there, Jay,
yeah,
and
I got that.
Maggie, and Charlie, and Clarence, and Quiz. I'm definitely going to be making a post because I did see somebody
Raven
sign up.
didn't get one.
No, sorry, Rave. Sorry. But Rave's in there anyway. Rave is in our Discord anyway if she wants to be. Like because she was working with us over there at Heretical so much. Um, but I'll be making a membership post for everyone to join the Discord that hasn't already. Um, so that'll be good coming out later tonight because I did see some other people join while we were live with the Lori Vallow trial today. But Raven's laughing in the chat. You're shaking the bushes there. Thank you, Shil. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So more on
Right
Rex
now.
Harriman. They're still trying to identify the other bodies.
Yeah.
They definitely through this DNA have confirmed that the baby is Peaches' baby that they
Yep.
found.
Yep. DNA
Yeah.
evidence. Yeah, baby doe is
Mhm.
Peaches.
Right. And but we're not so sure that they're related to this serial killer. Rex
I don't.
Harriman.
I still don't think her and the baby are in the same. I think that's somebody else. Whether or not it was a serial killer or not,
No, I
could have
think
just
it's
been.
more a gang or drug violence or because of the way the dismemberment was
Yeah.
done. Rex Harriman does not dismember his victims.
Well,
That
not as much as like Peaches was dismembered. He would
he
do
tortures them.
things. Yeah, well,
He
and he
does
would
things
also
to
do things to help disguise the what's the word I'm looking for? Uh,
identities.
Identification. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
but like with Peaches and we had complete dismemberments and stuff.
Yes, because didn't they find one of her body parts first before they found the torso? Wasn't it a leg and it was found
I
somewhere else? Yeah.
Something I'm trying to figure out.
Mhm.
I've got that pulled up here too somewhere.
Yeah.
Too many
But
tabs open.
also, they're working on the identification of the young Asian male who did have a very feminine aspect. And I'm wondering, I think out of all the ones that are left, that one is the closest to be linked into Lisk because of he would have been quite upset finding out it wasn't
Yeah.
a female, and he would have killed him, and it would have been more violent.
Yeah, her dismembered torso was found in '97 at Hempstead Lake State Park, but
Mhm.
more of her remains were then discovered in 2011 near Jones Beach. So we're
Mhm.
looking at 14 years later they found the rest of her.
Yes. So they haven't linked any of those, but of the 7 that they have here, here's some interesting, just to keep it like more on Harriman right now, what's going on. So we talked about the current Fry hearings. They're going to go on for several more weeks before we find out. And then we don't even have a trial date on Rex Harriman because of this going back and forth. But the other thing is Michael Brown fighting tooth and nail against his DNA, yes, but he's also fighting to separate all the trials.
Yes,
He's
that was another one I wanted to talk about. Another thing I
he's
wanted to talk about too.
yes,
So
he says, and he has a point here in his
he
fighting.
does. I understand it, but I don't think it's going to work.
I don't either because the MO is the same. The burial sites are all the same. So I don't care that his point is there's so many years in between them, okay, that you can't really, and the evidence is a little for this and a little for that. But the big evidence of it is him laying out the plan all the way down and this and that, where the bodies were. They did find stuff in the house that relates back to Costello and Taylor. Unfortunately for him, with Taylor, it was an address of the drop site. He
Yeah.
documented like So there's enough there to tie it all together, because if it is a serial killer. But here's his point, and he put it in black and white. And I was like, you got a point there, boo boo, but I don't know how far it's going to go.
Well,
He's like,
he
if you link
also
all the cases together, it's a presumption of guilt as a serial killer. Like, you're making him look like a monster. And you know what?
and the other thing with
Yeah.
that too is he wants it into 5 different trials because the the evidence for say the first 3 he wants in one trial. If the
Mm-hmm.
evidence and everything that they present in there isn't the same as say the evidence for one of the trial number 4, then if you put them all together, then people they're still going to think, okay, well he did this to these people, he did all this with everybody else. So
Exactly.
he wants to differentiate that yes, 1, 2, and 3 he did these heinous things, but say number 4 it wasn't as bad as these 3. So how can
right. Yeah.
whereas if they put them all together, then they're going to taint that feeling
And
that
that's
yes,
really important when it comes to DNA, because we all know juries react to DNA. Like, DNA is like a bingo, you did it. Your DNA is done. That's it. You did it. Like, they don't really need much after that. But what they have after that is just the planning and the phones and the contact and him being in the vicinity, the wife being away, the opportunity. They have a huge case that way. But you're right. Without DNA on 1 or 2 of these victims, it's not going to be as bad. And he's hoping
yeah,
he'll get off on 1 or 2 of them.
and
I don't
but
think so. With
well
everything
he's
else they found in the house, I really don't think so.
well see now here's the other thing though, if he can get the DNA evidence tossed out, then the rest of the evidence they pulled from the uh, case has a chance of being thrown out also because they used the DNA to get into the house where they found everything else. If you toss that evidence out, chances
Mm,
are the rest of the evidence is not going to be admissible.
he only has a chance of throwing out the certain type of testing that was done that increased the percentage. The original DNA typing, he can't get thrown out. It is standard in New York. It's been used repeatedly for more than 25 years. There's no way that's getting tossed.
But it doesn't mean he's not going to try.
But they didn't use what I'm trying to put out clearly is they didn't use the whole genotype testing to get the warrants or the
Oh yeah,
grand jury.
no, I get that 100%. What I'm saying is any good defense lawyer would try to get that tossed, even though
Good luck. Good
yeah,
luck getting it tossed. Like,
he did
no.
good luck. He may
You know
look at it
how
and go,
hard
yeah, it's not worth
how hard
it.
it is? Like let's just say the Kohlberger case, they're like, this touch DNA, it's really not that much. Like, anybody could have done it. It is like, no, you don't even have a case here on that. That is his DNA. It has been proved. He left it behind at the scene. He has no what they tried first to like they tried to pull amendments on him, like violating his personal rights to property. Like, no, you left it behind at a murder scene.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, the DNA
Yeah.
standing on that. Like, they just they had to give up. Like, they went in circles for a while, but DNA is hard to get out unless you can prove that the lab made an error. Now, we're not going to find out until he attacks the testimony of the lab technicians.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there have
Oh,
been some cases where the labs, you get one bad egg in a lab, okay, and
oh
then
yeah,
the
you can
lab
screw the
comes
whole
under
lab up, put
scrutiny,
all their
and you
stuff
can
under
screw the
scrutiny.
whole
Yeah.
lab and put everything under scrutiny. So unless something like that happens, that first testing of DNA that secured the warrant, I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see it going anywhere, and I don't even
Yeah.
see him complaining about that. Let's put it this way: Michael Brown is a shark. And if he hasn't filed to get the warrant tossed, it ain't happening, Jay.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying there's opportunities. I didn't
Yeah.
it's all
He,
legal stuff.
yeah.
That's your purview than mine.
I think what he's looking at right now is I just want him to only go to jail for 1 or 2 life sentences
Yes.
instead of 7. Honestly, because the fact to get him off is going to be it's going to really be difficult. I also heard that he's facing a divorce with his wife.
Yes. Yes, he is.
And I don't know if she'll testify, but they already have her on record. She was nowhere to be seen. He had opportunity, and she let them test her and the daughter for the DNA to compare it to the hairs. So she's like sort of cooperating without cooperating. She's kind of cooperating to save her own skin to get the light off of them, you know.
Uh-huh.
I do feel for the family because once this all came out, the daughter got attacked for her personal beliefs, and like they went after the family. He's got a child. He's got a son, a special needs son. Like you know, they're not responsible for anything he did. Just like a
No,
parent
no.
isn't responsible for raising a child who does something awful either. Like you can only look at it so far unless they're actually contributing to it. They've suffered a lot. There's a lot of weirdness there, but they were showing up at the hearings, and they still are showing up at the hearings
Yeah,
for him.
and that is another thing too, because they're finding that with all, I think with all but the Atlantic, no, not the Atlantic City one, the last one, Mac. It was a tax of opportunity because he always did it when they weren't home. They were
Hmm.
gone somewhere. Like one of them, he was in Atlantic City. Another one, they were somewhere else.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I have a thing with this because I'm not going against her, but how do you have a room in your house, especially a basement, that you're not allowed to go into?
Well,
How do you let that fly? You know, and
it depends on if
I've
you
never
have the
put
kids.
myself in a situation like that, so I can't see
Mhm.
it from their end. So it's one of
Listen,
those things I'll probably never understand.
listen. As a formerly married person with a house that was very big and it was a full basement, and if I could have kicked him down there to do whatever he was doing, whenever he was doing, I would have too. I never would have went down there either. I'm just saying, like
Uh-huh.
sometimes in a marriage, you need space. And I think that it was just something that he cultivated from when he met her, that this is my space. This is what I do. I work. I don't want to be disturbed. And he's a very big guy. And
Mm.
maybe it
Well,
just
yeah.
suited her. Maybe it just suited their family style. And as long as they were, he was doing his end of the bargain upstairs and everything and having dinner with the family or whatever, why bother?
Mm. Yeah.
And that room was pretty well sealed off from what they said. Like, and if it's all locked up, I mean, you know, I don't know what she knew. I would be very curious if somebody didn't let me see a room, but I'm not so sure she never saw the room. I'm sure he just locked it up during the days and all to keep the kids out of it because of the computer and his work and stuff like that.
Mm.
But I think that when he was home, or I think she saw the room, not while he was using it, of course, for nefarious purposes,
Yeah.
but the room itself just looked like a room when he wasn't covering it in plastic and doing the stuff.
He wasn't pulling a Dexter.
It wasn't, yeah. When he like when he was pulling a Dexter, it looked one way. But like I can't imagine being married to somebody all that time and him like because a locked door you keep from everyone is a locked door that somebody's going to get curious enough to try to get into when you're not home.
Exactly.
So I'm sure he was smart enough to let her see the room, but also in a way, you know, to get his privacy when he was using it. Like remember, nothing happened while they were home ever.
Yeah. Well,
They were always
that we
away.
know of.
Well, that he's been charged of. They
Yeah.
proved it. Every one of these, they were away. Okay. And teacher Damien has a question. He says, won't he just be in jail for life no matter what? Well, he's got to be convicted of one of the murders. And the murders are so heinous and so old, and the case is so popular. I can't see him not getting life. I can't see Tyranny not going for life on every single one of them. But you also you need extra circumstances to go for a life sentence anyway for
does
murders.
does New York not have the death penalty?
No, they don't.
That would
But that's
explain
a whole
why.
big thing because of the federal, when we get to the
Yeah, the
next
federal charges within the next year. Yeah, that's
yeah,
the next. No, I don't
yeah,
want to jump
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, yeah. But like, let's just look for questions on the last one of that because I think we've pretty much brought it up to date. They're trying to go
Mhm.
for separate cases. They're trying to go for separate trials, the defenses, and they're trying to get the second type of DNA testing that is more specific and actually is more specific for more of the body, more of the victims, more of the evidence on the victims. Um, you're trying to get that tossed. Okay. And also probably a change of venue. I definitely think that
That I would expect a change of venue at any
that should
time.
be that should be a given. But I wouldn't expect this trial to go off until 2026, to tell you the truth. If they're fighting about DNA evidence, depending on how the court comes back with this one, which is going to be another month or two, um, maybe around November, December. You know, we'll see.
I wouldn't expect it to go to trial till at least June or July next year.
Yeah, especially if they try to go with change of venue, which would be in the best interest of the defense. The longer they wait for this trial to go through, the more it's out of the news, and the better it's going to be.
Mm.
Actually, um, so in hoping that Ray Tierney's out of office, that's what they're hoping for. But it ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. He's really good at his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what do I say? Let me see if there's any other questions. I have to look into this case more. Is he kind of like the BTK guy? Go ahead, Jay. You can take that question.
No.
No, not at all. Yeah.
No.
Well,
No.
well,
Because the big difference between BTK and Lisk is BTK wanted to be famous. Lisk was trying to be anonymous.
right. He tried to hide who he was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He tried very hard to hide
Mm-hmm.
everything about it, where BTK was throwing it out there, literally mocking the cops.
Oh,
to catch
sending them
him.
everything and taunting
Yeah.
them and
Yeah.
and heckling them and can't catch me, I'm smarter than you. I do think that Rex Heuermann thought he was smart. He's smart enough to keep it out of the papers. He's smart. But he did like have a scrapbook of like everything that was going on. He kept tabs of all the investigations and if they found anything. Yeah. And like we said, he just made a couple of really bad mistakes, like leaving everything on your computer and documenting it. Here's the thing, he would take the drives out of old computers and he saved them.
Yeah. They were, what they say, like 260 electronics.
Devices, yes. And
The
a lot of
electronic
them drives for over the years. He was
drives.
he wanted all of his documentation apparently of
Wasn't it?
all of the things that he had done because he saved all the drives from his old computers, which would have all the old documents he created and stuff like that and steps that they
Wasn't it something like 40 something cell phones?
yes, like I said, he didn't even throw the ones out that he
Yeah.
used for the victims.
No,
They
he
have
kept
all the messages.
everything.
They have the contact that he made with the witnesses. So what is the defense? Well, I just paid them for sex, but when I left, they were alive. That's what he's going to say for 7 victims.
Yeah. Last I seen them, they were alive.
Yeah, right. I just happen to have a pattern of like contacting these women that all have the same body. They're all in the same profession. I always wait till my wife goes away and they just somehow end up murdered, like in Long Island. Like in
I
burial
don't know what happened. They left my house. They was fine.
It's going to be rough. I can't even imagine the defense on this one. All they can do is tear apart the investigation. And we all know investigations aren't perfect. It involves a lot of human beings. But I think they're running a tight ship in New York right now as far as that task force. They've got a lot of really high profile people on it. And I think it's going to be hard to get anything tossed. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't see the,
Here's the
like
thing.
I said, I understand the reasons why. I just don't see it happening. I
Yeah,
think
but
this
look-
guy's he's nailed to the freaking wall for this.
Yeah. And you know what? Michael Brown has to do what he's going to do. The defense has to do
Yeah.
it because he does deserve a fair trial, and I hope he does do everything that he can. But here's the thing. Ray Tierney's task force had this man under investigation for a long time. They dotted their I's and crossed their T's before
Oh,
they
yeah,
even-
they did.
So,
Yeah.
like, they had a case before it became a case, if you know what I mean. They wanted to make sure there was no wiggle room. They had all of this, okay, and it looks pretty tight to me. But we have seen crazier things. Remember, it's not evidence until it's entered into trial.
Yeah.
Just because we know about it doesn't mean it's going to have anything to do with the case until we
If
actually
the glove
go to the
fits,
courtroom.
if
Oh
the
my
glove
gosh!
doesn't
Don't even.
fit, you must acquit.
I was just talking to somebody. I was so upset about that. Why didn't the prosecution push back on that? About it was leather. It had been wet. It had been tested. It did have blood. It dried. It shrunk. Like, why didn't they push back? They just folded like a deck of cards. Not me. I would have went in. But then again, hindsight. perfect vision. What do you? I'm not a lawyer, but man, I just don't understand that one. All right.
No.
So let's get to our next one because I don't want to go I don't want to keep you forever here. I know you got an early day.
Now, for me, I've
Hmm.
been going down the rabbit holes on this one.
Well, let's just start with the transfer of the
Let's,
arrest.
you know what? I was just saying, let's just start with this freaking picture right here.
Exactly.
What the
My
hell
point.
is this?
That would be the FBI, the police commissioner, the mayor of New York, armed guards acting like this man is the worst person in the world. And just in comparison, there was only 3 people on Brian Kohlberger, and he was accused of killing 4 people.
That's the one in Idaho, right?
That's the Idaho. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just pointing out the obvious political plays here because there's some things about this case that have really, really been sending up red flags to me. But for those of you that do not recognize, that is Luigi Mangione, who is accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO Thompson, right?
Mhm.
In New York, one shot to the back, I believe, on a New York street.
2 shots.
2 shots, and then
One,
traveled to
yeah.
Pennsylvania, where he was arrested, where there were other charges, where some of evidence was found on him. He has a different lawyer in Pennsylvania. He has separate charges there. This is the state case mostly that's going forward first, the state of New York,
Yeah.
where the murder occurred. But he's already been indicted federally. Okay. And one of the big things that just happened is the Department of Justice has come forward and asked that he be charged in the charges up so that he gets the death penalty. Now, a federal charge can do that, but he's not got that case yet. Here's the thing. The case for New York is happening first, but they have him in federal prison, federal custody, mandatory. And he was not able to travel to Pennsylvania for his hearings. So all of that has been stayed. It's a whole big thing. They found the gun, correct, Jay, in his backpack.
Now,
And
see,
stuff in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
see, I really have to remember that I am not a conspiracy theorist. I don't like conspiracy theories, but I gotta call some bullshit.
I know. The pencil. You know what? And you know who would be right there with you? Let me just put his picture up for you, Mr. Dickey, and that would be Luigi Mangione's attorney in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Actually challenging the arrest, the whole thing, the charges in Pennsylvania, because they surrounded this young man. And I'm not saying he didn't commit the murder. I mean, absolutely, there's video of it. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. If he murdered, he murdered. But it's leaving a bad taste and making me feel really uncomfortable how law enforcement and politics and the media are handling this case, because this is not justice as far as I know. They surrounded him in the McDonald's. They didn't tell him he was under arrest or questioning. They physically stood in front of him, according to Luigi Mangione, other people in McDonald's, in the filings by Thomas Dickey in Pennsylvania to get this tossed, that they would not let him leave. Yet they didn't tell him he was under arrest or that he was even wanted for questioning. They didn't say anything about it, but they physically blocked him from leaving. And by doing that, they kind of inferred that he was under investigation and or arrest, and didn't read him his Miranda rights or tell him he didn't have to talk to them. Okay. That's bad, and that could get the whole thing tossed. Just that right there. Just blocking him from being able to leave, not telling him he couldn't leave, but physically blocking him from leaving without saying you can't leave.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know what the laws are in Pennsylvania for that. In Michigan, they don't have to read you your Miranda rights till they take you to jail and start questioning you.
Exactly, but they do have to tell you you're wanted for questioning, and you have the option.
No, they don't.
To talk.
Not in Michigan. No, they can detain you. They can take you to jail. They don't have to tell you a damn thing till you get there and they start questioning
I
you.
don't think it's like that in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Because his whole filing, and I'm just going by his filing. Why would he waste his time on a filing saying they're violating procedure if they didn't? And he's saying that you had to either inform him that you wanted him for questioning, or that and ask if you would go, or arrest him. And they didn't do either. They just blocked him. He's saying the intimidation of blocking him is where they violated procedure and rights. And that would be true. If you've got these people in vests and guns, and there was more than one of them, and they're not letting him leave, but they're not telling him that they want him for questioning, where basically they were stalling to get more information from New York and how to proceed. And I understand why they did it. They do think that people could have been at risk. He could have killed somebody else. I understand all that. But you need to identify yourself, and you need to not violate his rights to do it. Because now you put your whole case at jeopardy, I have issues with everything that they found too, because it's all there. They found stuff in New York too, in how this stuff gets to the media and gets to be part of this whole interview that police commissioner and the mayor do, reading from his papers as if it's a manifesto. They did the reading, not Luigi Mangione. Has anybody seen anything that he put out in writing himself to say that he was trying to organize a movement against insurance companies to go kill CEOs on a regular basis? Anybody?
No.
Mm-hmm. I didn't see Luigi Mangione say that, even after his arrest. He's made no statements. He didn't declare it. He didn't put it out. He didn't secretly send it to police stations or the news media or anyone. Who puts it out there? The police commissioner and the mayor and the media. And he gets charged with terrorism. What? Explain that to me, Jay. How does that make sense?
Well, you under the law.
I know
you were about this.
Yes, go ahead and read that law again, because
so,
go ahead.
490.25 of the New York Consolidated Laws Penal Law, paragraph B, for the purposes of subparagraph 13 of paragraph A of subdivision 1 of section 125.27 of this chapter means activities that involve a violent act or acts dangerous to human life that are in violation of the criminal laws of this state and are intended to A, intimidate or coerce a civilian population, 2, influence the policy of a unit of government by intimidation or coercion, or 3, affect the conduct of a unit of government by murder, assassination, or kidnapping. Now, where I can see where they're coming from with this, because I thought when I first heard about the terrorism, I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. But where they're coming from at this is in his killing of the CEO of the United Healthcare and leaving the 3 gun shells, the deny, depose. What was the last one? Deny, defend, depose?
Deny, defend, depose. Right.
Yeah. Leaving those 3 on the ground there was sending a message to other big corporations that we will not stand for this anymore, that we are coming through because this is what we stand for. This is what we are behind. And they can infer that in his intentions was shooting him, Brian Thompson, and leaving the bullets on the ground. And then the so-called manifesto that talks about what was going on. They can go, okay, we do have legitimate reasons to cite him for terrorism in that aspect.
Okay.
But they also need to have that terrorism charge, though, to get murder in the first in the state of New York.
They do.
And
they have
that's
to
what they're gonna. That's what they're gonna shoot for.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be the Jen. It doesn't have to be the government.
No, in the state of New York, him actually using the weapon, the gun, can get murder in the first, actually, because they have enhanced charges for gun charges in New York. But
That's right,
anyway,
they do. That was up
okay,
in the
all right.
other. Yep, you're right.
But
But
all right, let me play devil's advocate here. So, okay, so yeah, we all saw the media frenzy because it
mhm.
was the CEO of United Healthcare in and denied, depose, defend, or defend, depose. Okay, we all saw the media outbreak about that. But did we see anything from Luigi Mangione that was his intent? Knowing the climate of America, this sounds more like a political thing to me. This definitely sounds like people just panicking, especially older white cushy CEOs of insurance companies who have been banking millions and millions of dollars while the American people suffer. Yes, I'm on my soapbox. You can exit if you like, but yeah, I'm staying here for a minute, people. It sounds more like to
uh,
me that they took the little baton and ran with it. And I can't see them proving terrorism without inciting riot themselves. And they should all be charged with this terrorism charge for what they're doing to the public right now in the media and politically about this case. This is not the way law and order works. This is not how you get a charge like that. You know, they can get up there, and the federal people who don't even have the case yet because the state is doing it first and there's no death penalty, getting up there and rattling that cage for the death penalty already. Tell me this doesn't stink of political coercion to you. Like,
oh,
who could,
this whole thing is yeah, this whole
not to
everything
mention the
everything
defense doesn't
about
even
this.
have the defense doesn't even have the evidence that the mayor and the police commissioner read live in an interview out there, but they haven't turned it over.
Yeah,
They haven't
no,
turned it over.
we are as of Monday. They were 100 days without discovery. The defense was,
And that is
and
wrong. That
they're now on the um prosecution side of this. They say the
mhm.
reason they haven't done that is because they have over 800 terabytes worth of information that they have to go through, and that they have witnesses that have been threatened. Well, the defense goes, I don't know who's threatening them
Who's witnesses?
because we don't even have the information of who the witnesses are. We don't have any of this information. How could we be threatening anybody when we've never had anything? And
Again.
then she goes, all right, I'll tell you what, leave the
And
witness
she being
statements
Carrie
out.
Agnew Filler, one of the best defense
Yeah.
attorneys out there. Yep.
So she goes, fine, leave the witness information out. Give us the rest. Give us something. We have nothing.
Tell me they're not treating him unfairly when they even a motion to give him laptop access to converse with his attorneys and view what little evidence and stuff mysterious they need was denied when
Yes.
everyone else in the same prison in the same area has access.
Well, he has access to a computer. They wanted to get him a laptop for his jail cell.
Specifically configured just for the discovery materials, the videos, the photos, and approximately 15,000 pages of documents. They argued that without that access, it would be challenging for Mangione to help with his defense. And that's true, because here's the thing. He's on state charges, has no access to his attorney because he's in federal confinement. He gets 1 hour free a day, just like maximum security, and they won't let his lawyers in regularly like they do in the state. They have stricter confinements.
Yeah.
He has to stay completely shackled, and he's surrounded by guards while he's in court. He can't even have 10 minutes with his lawyer before or after to actually do anything like he would normally, because the confinements of the maximum security, that they feel he's that much of a risk. He's in shackles for his feet, his hands. He's guarded the whole
Shackled to
time,
his
and
waist. Yeah.
he's escorted out almost immediately. He can't even have a decent conversation with his attorneys. So I think that this is all leading to very unfair. Like, he's guilty of murder. He's not saying, like, yes, he said not guilty so far. Okay. And yet we saw the video. Let them prove it. Process it as a murder, but like give him half a shot to defend himself. Otherwise, it's not a fair trial. It's not justice.
No. Now I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here on myself.
Okay, I'll get that off the soapbox so you can get up. Okay.
I'm gonna get up on the soapbox for a second here.
Go right ahead.
So for those of you that have been around and know who I am and what I do, for years I did conspiracy theory debunks. So when this case come up and I'm watching everything, that brain kicked in, and I started looking into things. And I know how to look for the conspiracy theories. I know what to do to look up for them. I, mind you, was a conspiracy theory debunker. I smell a conspiracy in this case 100%.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the photos, just the photos alone, the photos of Mangione and in Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
at the Starbucks, at the hostel, in the cab, those are
Mm-hmm.
4 different people.
They don't
They
look
look
similar to them.
similarly. They look similarly to each other. You know, you could pass them off easily as brothers, but it's not the same person.
They, yeah.
If you look at Mangione when he was arrested in Pennsylvania, and you look at his picture from the hostel, which was 5 days apart. At the hostel, he is very well groomed. Uh, this is going to sound funny. Eyebrows with a very distinct gap between the two. When he's arrested in Pennsylvania, he's damn near got a bushy eyebrow unibrow. Your eyebrows do not grow that fast, not in 5 days. Now,
Mm.
some people will say, well, maybe it was just a tilt of the head. You can
Or the
still
camera
see the,
angle.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can still see the gap on that
Mm.
one. The coat that he was caught in was not even the same hoodie type coat that they say he was wearing when he shot Brian Thompson. The
Right, but
coat
they are
that,
saying they hit more than one hoodie, like more
yeah,
than one. Yeah, that they
but
hit.
but that's what they were saying. They're saying this is him, this is his hoodie. Exactly, Raven, missing pockets, missing a
Exactly,
strap. You know,
and that's why.
if you look at the order if you look at the order of the photos that they have that, now mind you, this is what they have uh presented to us, you know,
Mm-hmm.
until the actual trial and we get everything. This is
Mm-hmm.
what we got to go on, is what they give to us. If you look at
Exactly.
where if you look at the photo where he gets the bike uptown,
Mm-hmm.
right? You look at that outfit compared to the outfit just outside the hotel. Same outfit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. If you look at the outfit where they go from after he shot Brian Thompson, got on
Mm-hmm.
the bike, went into Central Park, and the picture they got of him going into Central Park, that's a whole different coat.
Mm-hmm.
Coming out of Central Park, that's a whole nother different coat. How many coats was he wearing?
Exactly. You know what would be a good idea, Jay? Because you bring very valid points. And I'm not a conspiracist. Everybody knows that. I'm a facts person. But I think it would be good to pull all these images together and do another stream in a couple of weeks showing all of these pictures exactly what we're talking about, because it
Mm-hmm.
is everywhere. I
Yeah,
thought we all have seen it, you know.
yeah.
And
Now,
I mean,
I
I've raised questions myself about the different jackets, about them not
yep,
looking the same. The images don't
that was,
like
and the funny thing was, before I started looking into it, the first thing you can ask Raven, the first thing I said, I'm like, that is not the same person. He
right.
doesn't look the same. Those are 2 different coats. You know,
And
this is not
and
right.
and now with them delaying giving the evidence to the defense once they
Mm-hmm.
found out who the defense was, Karen Agnew, she don't mess around. She's pretty well known. Her she's part of that whole legal team. Her husband is actually representing Sean Combs, P Diddy, in New York, also a really tough case. They're well known, big high profile attorneys. So but Karen is specifically, she's on Midas Touch and quite a few others. Her legal opinion in how these courts work, the New York state court especially, she's no one to mess
She,
around with, you know.
if I'm trying to remember, is she the one that's never lost a case?
I don't think she has lost a case.
Yeah, I think
Okay. She
she's the
has
one that they think they said that she has never, as a DA or as a defense attorney, has never lost
mhm.
a case.
And that's the thing. She was a district attorney too. And so she knows what they should be doing. And they're not doing it. And she's
Yeah,
got good good reason to be squawking, and she is, about how he's being treated, about this not being fair. I mean, nobody thinks murder is right. I'm not sitting up here saying murder is cool. I'm upset about the healthcare system in America. Of course I am. I'm upset that they care more about this older white guy getting killed than they do a lot of other things that are going on.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't think murder is right, and I don't think it should have been done. But I do believe in law and order, and the laws are there for everybody, including law enforcement, including the politicians, and including those with an agenda to that I really think exists on trying to make a scapegoat out of Luigi Mangione.
Well, here's my thing on top of the scapegoat thing, because who was it? Cassandra said the same thing. Definitely feels like he's a scapegoat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so much as the scapegoat. I think he is part of a bigger. The best term to say it is a sleeper cell.
I would say
I
that he
think
is
there are
overcharged.
multiple people involved in this, and he's the one they're using to take the fall for it. Because he just happened to have the gun on him with the silencer, with the fake passports, with the fake IDs.
I
Just
think they have enough to prove that he is the one that killed Brian.
well, yeah, they can
I do.
prove it, but can they prove that he was the one that pulled the trigger?
Well, it's on film.
Just because you have DNA on him, the water bottle that they found in Central Park,
Okay. Well,
that
if
doesn't
we
mean that he was
okay,
the one that put it there.
true, and you'd make a great defense attorney. But let me just comment it from the jurors, from the jury, which we normally do here. If I am
Mhm.
presented with evidence of a video of him standing 5 feet away from the garbage where the water bottle was found, and I see him with that gun take that shot and kill that man, and then you tell me that you found evidence of a protein bar and water not more than 2 feet away from him with DNA that matches him, that proves that it's him. Then you show me a fake ID that he used with his own picture, like with a fake name, showing that he intended to cover up the crime from a hostel around the street. And you show me video of him leaving there. Then you show me an arrest in Pennsylvania that may or may not stand up, where that ID is found in his possession. If I'm on the jury, he goes down for murder. Does he go down for
Mhm.
terrorism? Hell no. Should he be federally charged? Hell no. It's murder. It's murder. True, if I'm on the jury, but then you try
Mhm.
to overcharge him and I'm on the jury, you might get a nullified jury because I'll be like, what the hell? Like you
Yeah.
got him for the murder. Why do you got to make it this whole big thing? You don't have the evidence for the whole big thing. Where's the sleeper cell? Where's the manifesto? Where is him actually proclaiming that this is what he wanted to happen? None of that exists. Okay, so don't overcharge it. Like you got him for murder. Slam dunk. Leave it alone. Law and order. There.
Another thing you got to look into also when I type, I use sleeper cell because I can't figure out the a better term for this, but he was missing from July to November, gone.
Well,
Nobody knew where he's at. He
you
shut
think that's
down
where the
all
open
communications.
sleeper cell? Yes, that
Huh?
that would fit into the sleeper cell kind of theory.
Yeah, all
That this was the
communications gone.
organization. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
was
removed.
working on the plan. They were working
Yep,
all
they
together.
were
There's
working the
more than one of
plans.
them.
He
They were
just
going to take
how did
out.
he just happen to know exactly where Brian Thompson was be at what moment of the
Well, you
day?
know what? If they've got all of that, and if the mayor and the police commissioner know anything about it, they would have already been up there on the news giving out a release that they've
I
got 20
I
people
don't
under.
think so. I think at this point it's we need the scapegoat. We need to bury this and bury it hard so other people don't try to copycat. And which is what they're worried about to begin with. They're worried about copycats.
True.
And
True. Well, then they would have had, if there was a sleeper cell, they would have to arrest more than the one guy if they don't want it to happen. Because if they didn't, yeah,
yeah,
um,
no,
if they
absolutely. I
did,
understand what you're
then
saying.
more of these murders would have been happening. Like, right?
But we don't know what the timeline is though. It could be take out Thompson in November, get caught,
Now you,
have this whole thing going on.
yeah,
Now
no,
let's wait 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Let's do it again.
That would be a very intelligent, well organized sleeper cell. I'll tell
And
you
if
that.
you look at Brian Thompson's back, not Brian Thompson, Mangione's background, it would not surprise me. He was a very smart individual.
He was quite intelligent, but like that's why I don't know why you would throw it all away.
Yeah.
Like I'm not really buying the whole sleeper cell thing as much like as I am. I am more buying, and I'll be honest about it. I'm more buying the enough is enough. I've just had it mental break.
Mhm.
I really am.
So,
I that's what I think the whole absence was. I mean, I really am because a sleeper cell to be that organized, there would be a little bit more. We would see something sticking out a little bit more, not just the absence.
we
Um,
didn't see anything leading up to it. What would make you think that would have anything after the fact?
yeah, but as soon as we knew about it, there was plenty. That's what I mean. Now they're
Yeah,
talking sleeper cell. We would see plenty. It,
but
that's
they're not talking sleeper cell though.
yes. I'm not falling into that one. Like there's
Well,
enough
like
going
I
on.
said, no.
There's
Well, like I
enough
said though,
agenda
there's
here
so
for
many
the
different things.
politicians that are talking and law
Yeah,
enforcement that's talking and him being overcharged. There's enough there right in front of our eyes. We don't have to dig for conspiracy.
yeah,
Like,
but
period.
like I'm saying, there's too much that doesn't sound right in this whole thing. Like
The
Raven
whole
says, look how fast we caught him, and how severe we're punishing him for the murder of one person.
yep. What are we trying to shut down here?
Yeah,
True. And
what
and
is
the
actually going
FBI
on
being
here?
involved in federal charges right away. You know what, Raven? You got a very good point there because there are federal charges right away, and the FBI is involved in. There could be something to it, but I'm going to wait for the federal case to
Yeah,
see because it ain't coming up in the state case. I can give you that because
well,
there's no
and
way the federal government's going to let the state mess up that case.
it's the thing is why is he being punished so hard um for the killing of one person?
Mm-hmm.
If what was it that same day? What was it? 5 or 6 blocks away from where Thompson was killed, another gentleman was killed, and they caught the guy that killed him that day. He's got 2 charges: one for the gun, one for the murder. That's it.
I know, but let's just remember election year, and let's not get healthcare in the front there. He might have deserved it because the American government hasn't kept the healthcare industry in check. Let's not go there. Hmm. Yeah, let's not.
teacher teacher says it's funny how everybody says they're not a conspiracy theorist before they talk about a conspiracy.
Exactly. And Mrs. Cassandra said it's pretty bad when somebody who is a conspiracy debunker is saying that this might be a conspiracy. Like that makes you think. I mean, you're really making
Yeah,
them think. Hey
yeah,
Pete, thanks
no,
for coming back.
but that's what I said before I started all this thing is
Mhm.
as a conspiracy debunker, I learned to look at different things differently and could smell out, using that term, sniff out
Mm,
um truth and where things smell funny. And there's a lot of truth to this case. I am not giving anything against
oh no,
the
there's
truth
definite.
coming, but there's a
Yep.
lot of smelly shit in here too.
Hmm. This came from Rocket Couch over there on Twitch. Thank you very much for being there, Couch. Because the person he killed is on the premium subscription of life, so they get extra justice. Because they, and, and I'm not saying it's a good thing that Brian Thompson is dead. He was a family man. He had 2 children. I feel for them. I really do. Murder's wrong. I'm not saying that. Nope, nope. I'm not saying he deserved it. I don't care what he does for a living or whatever. You don't kill. You don't just walk up and shoot somebody in the back over this. I don't care what's going on. Murder's wrong. Okay. So let's get that clear. But I just think there's more to it. This overcharging, this actually the beating down, like you said.
Let me for those of you who don't know, let me read you the charges. This is just the people of the state of New York versus Mangione. This isn't Pennsylvania. This isn't even federal. This is just New York.
Uh-huh.
So we have murder in the first degree,
Mm-hmm.
murder in the second degree as a crime of terrorism, murder
Mm-hmm.
in the second degree. Now, those are 2 different murder in the second degrees. So we have criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, a
Mm-hmm.
criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, 3, count them, 3 criminal possessions of a weapon in the third degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree, and criminal possession of a forged instrument in the 2nd degree.
Okay, those enhancements because of the weapon are standard almost in New York because New York really gets in on gun. When you use a gun for a crime, it's almost always an enhancement to a charge.
Yeah.
There's almost always extra charges.
Well, I had to look it up
However,
because I'm like, why
three
is he being
different
charged for
murder
3 of them?
charges. 3 different murder charges. I think it has to do with the way the weapon was created, the parts of the weapon that were taken off, and stuff like that. I don't know.
So the first criminal possession of weapon in the 3rd degree, possession of a firearm silencer.
Right.
Okay.
There you
Second
go.
one was possession of a large capacity ammunition feeding device,
The clip.
a Glock magazine. Yep.
Yep.
Apparently, he had a Magpul magazine also, so they're charging him with that one because it's a different type than the Glock was.
See what I
Who
mean?
does that?
New York, all the time. I'm telling you, Jay, New York does it all the time. They had a big problem with guns and stuff, and yeah, they have laws just on the parts. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jin's reminding us that Pam Bondi has already come out, and the Department of Justice will be going for the death penalty in his federal case.
So one
And,
of this one I didn't understand. This one, criminal possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree. The defendant in the county of New York, on or about December 4th, possessed a loaded firearm. Said possession not being in defendant's home or place of business.
because
Can
you're not
somebody
allowed
explain that to me? That does not make any sense.
That's New York state law. You can't have them out and about. Unless they're registered. Nope, you can't. And
But
he doesn't use it for work. He can't be out there carrying it unless he's got special permission. Period. You can have it in your home. You're allowed to own it. You ain't walking around the streets in New York with it. Period.
no, okay,
That's how,
that makes more sense. Just
right.
like the second possession in the 2nd degree.
Aren't you glad you got a Jersey girl up here to try to explain to you how crazy New York is right now?
So the one possession of a weapon in the 2nd degree is a loaded firearm with intent to use it unlawfully against another person. I get that
That's
one.
the enhancement. That's the enhancement charge I'm telling you about.
Yeah, the murder in the 2nd degree caused the death of another person. Murder in the 2nd degree, intent of the death of another person. So they're getting him 2 counts of murder in the 2nd degree, one for the intent of killing him, and then one in causing the death of him.
Yeah, because
so he killed him.
You didn't do it, and then you did it, and so we get 2 charges.
Wouldn't him actually doing it negate the intent to do it since he already did it?
You know what that shows me is that they're giving the jury enough to go by that if they don't show that he intended to actually kill him, and it wasn't like say the defense does come with it was an extraordinary event, and he thought he was threatened, so he just killed him. Like then the intent charge would kind of go away if the jury kind of believes that, right? And then he could get off. So what they do, they charge in layers to give the jury lots to pick from if they don't prove their case, which means they probably weren't that confident in the intent part of that case at the time. They might be better now, but at the time. We see it all the time. Just like when you go up for murder and manslaughter at the same time. You either intended to do it or you didn't intend to do it. But we're going to charge you with both just so the jury has something to go by.
You know what this case also gives me feelings of? Manchurian Candidate.
Oh my God. I was thinking that yesterday. Oh my gosh.
This has got Manchurian Candidates.
It's going around and around and around. Like, I don't want to believe there's something fishy going on. But, I don't want to follow the hype either. Like, I don't want to say he shouldn't be charged or he's not guilty or, yeah, the guy deserved it. I'm not there. Like, I just want him to have a fair trial. And I don't think there's a lot of fair going on right now. That's my beef.
Yeah, like I said, there is. I ain't even got into any of the other conspiracy theories like the 286 and the.
What is that? I hadn't even heard that.
Oh, you don't know about 286? We got time. Let me introduce you to the 286 phenomenon.
We got 15 minutes. Anybody in the chat, do you mind if he goes and informs us of all of this crazy stuff? Because I'm actually interested. I would like to hear it.
So
go ahead.
The 286 theory. Okay, Luigi and Mangione's Twitter feed had 3 pictures on his the Twitter banner had
Mm-hmm.
one of a Pokemon, Belmoon,
Okay.
Breloom. Okay, one of a picture of his back where he had surgery and had pins and stuff put into it,
Mm-hmm.
and God, I don't remember what I think the third one was just a picture of him.
All right.
So okay, keep that in
Okay.
mind. Now I'm going to go to the next part. He had exactly 286 tweets. If he tweeted something, he would delete something. It was always 286. Breloom is the 286th Pokemon in the Pokemon Index.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bear with me. Okay? Then there is the Proverbs 28:6 that says, better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways. Okay? The
Mm-hmm.
last one, Mangione was spotted roughly 286 miles away, according to Google Maps. If you take the shortest route on Google Maps, it's 279. So it's roughly 208, pretty close to 286 miles from where he shot Thompson to where he was located in McDonald's. What this means, I have no freaking idea. But
Well,
the fact
it's
that
so
286 keeps popping up
would
and
that,
things that you look through, it just
that
that's
would
what
kind of
people latched onto.
okay, that would lead more towards like he was having some episode, like he was OCD. He's very challenged in certain areas. He's a bright guy, but everybody did say like after his surgery and all, he kind of started to keep to himself and he was having some issues. So like I don't know if there's really much to that. I think you can find a conspiracy anywhere you
Well,
look.
here's
Like
here's the other thing too. You know, the fact that he was found at McDonald's and the backpack that he left in Central Park was full of $1,500 in Monopoly money, which just happens to be the starting money in the game of Monopoly. What that
in
means, I have no
McDonald's.
freaking idea other than
Right.
McDonald's
Like
does their
and
Monopoly
there's
thing.
some question on whether that actually belonged to him or not. Like I don't
Yeah.
even know why would he fill it. And
Well,
then
because
the only
apparently,
statement that Luigi actually made was that they're saying that he had foreign currency and regular currency and what they found in Pennsylvania. And he said, well, where did that come from? Because it isn't mine. He
yeah.
did say that. He is quoted as saying that in some part of the Pennsylvania transfer, interrogation kind of thing. And
So
he's like,
on
no.
on the backpack though, he did have pictures of him with that backpack on his Twitter feed, and it is the same type of backpack taken in the surveillance pictures as he was
Mhm.
leaving the scene.
And Karen Agnifola is going to tell you how there was 100,000 of those backpacks sold in
Exactly.
America alone.
Yep. Exactly. But that's like I said, I'm trying to play both sides on this one. But yeah, like I said, there is a podcast out there. It's called The Rabbit Hole.
Oh
I
yeah,
found it on
it's
I found it on
conspiracy.
Spotify,
Sounds
and
like a
she
conspiracy.
goes she goes down. That's where I first heard about these conspiracy theories around the Mangione and I'm like, what the
Mhm,
hell? I'm like, I knew there was some things just didn't sit right, and then I'm looking at these.
mhm.
Do I believe any of these
I,
conspiracy theories? No, except for the fact that I don't think he was at it alone. I don't think he was solo in this whole thing. I think there are other players involved.
possibly. And like I said, if they want to check out the rabbit hole, fine. I don't recommend, like, it's not something I'm going to do on my channel. I want to stick to the facts. What really pisses me off is I can't actually watch this trial in New York. Mm-mm.
Oh, they won't televise it, will they?
No, they won't. I mean, we're going to hear about it through the media every day, and I'll have to do that kind of reporting, which I've done before. That I'm
Well,
doing with
you know what?
everything.
They
So
may actually televise this one. All
I
the
don't
other
know.
stupid bullshit they've done coming up to this, excuse my language, coming up to this is
Well, that would kind
has
of give us more credence to that. This is a political conspiracy
that
for
you're
sure.
right, teacher. That's the one I forgot. 286 is also the healthcare denial code.
That's the big one everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
It's definitely related to him pushing back that what's wrong in America is what we allowed
Well,
happen
and the
up
thing
there.
they don't understand is he had a health insurance even with his back and stuff, but it wasn't through United Healthcare.
No, it wasn't. In actually, there's no proof that his family was decimated. They're still very successful. He comes
Yeah,
from a
they
wealthy
own like
family. They're big in
12
business.
old folks homes. So
Listen, and they also invest in the healthcare industry themselves.
yeah,
So, yes. So,
so
whatever is going on about that, like for all we know, there's something else happened. Like, wouldn't it be something? Here, you want a conspiracy? And I don't want to disparage a victim, but
no,
what,
go for
what
it.
if the victim actually did something to someone that Luigi went to college with, like a childhood sweetheart or something? Maybe he said something or did something inappropriate. I'm not putting it out there. I'm just saying conspiracies can be anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they go the other way too. Just because he's the CEO of United Healthcare, you know,
Mhm.
like they're going to have to do a little bit more to pull it all together for me.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm saying every bit of these conspiracies have a very, very minuscule amount of any kind of evidence
Mhm.
at
I mean,
best.
I'm not blaming the victim. He doesn't deserve to be dead. I don't care what happened. I don't care like how many millions he made
Oh,
as a
I
CEO.
I
He
I
doesn't
I
deserve to be.
I won't blame Brian Thompson for it
No,
anyways.
no,
Yeah,
well,
there's
right. His family doesn't deserve to be without him right now. His children don't deserve to grow up without a father. His wife doesn't deserve to be a widow. His parents don't deserve to see a child die. No, no, no one in his friends, family, nobody. They don't deserve it. That's
yeah.
not what I mean. I'm just making that point as for conspiracies. Like they could come from anywhere about
Mhm.
anything. Like it's going to take a lot more, but I do think he's being treated unfairly, and that's my point when I say there's a
Yeah,
political
absolutely.
agenda
I
going on.
100% agree with that. Yeah, I think he's being treated way unfairly.
And it's not the way we do it in Law and Order. Everybody gets a fair trial. Everybody gets the same deal. Whether they know for sure he's guilty and they're pissed off or not, they need to hold it together and put
Uh,
a good case together and let the system do what the system does. Okay, because that's what the best lawyers and the best public defenders and the best district attorneys and the judges and everybody, that's what it's all about. Okay, not this let's just put him on the rack. Let's make an example of him.
mm,
Making it all you're going to do, making an example out of him with the way our climate is about healthcare, is you're going to make him a martyr.
yeah,
And you're going to and what you're going to do, you're fear mongering right now, and you're going to get what you fear. You're going to
yep,
make people
exactly.
rise up. You're going to make everybody make it a bigger deal than it is, and you're going to go against the healthcare industry. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Like when you actually call the name of this beast and then it comes into existence, what are you going to do then? Like these politicalists who are using it, and I'm speaking directly to the police commissioner of New York and the mayor who did that interview with the evidence, which they should actually be facing sanctions right now, and they should have charges on them for this. I don't think that that was appropriate or legal, and they should know better.
Yeah,
They should
and
absolutely know better.
that was
Yeah.
one of the very first things his freaking lawyer said to the judge. Is like, this is some bullshit.
Yes, and she speaks like that too because she's from New York. She's like, that's the bullshit. Yeah, it was like that's not right. Like this is like you cannot. I don't. It doesn't matter what he did. You cannot violate his rights all over the place.
Yeah,
You, we are not like that. We're not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be a civilized, law-abiding country. Like, and I say that as I laugh because it sounds like such a funny thing to say with
well,
what
we
is
all,
going on.
and it's been proven time and time again that there are different classes of people who get treated differently. The
True.
rich are going to be treated and get away with. They literally get away with murder.
I'm glad that you said that because that is one of the things that I don't think with them politicizing it the way they are and them actually pushing this agenda and treating them unfairly. I don't think they are actually putting enough credit on the risks that they are taking, that they're actually going to take 12 jurors who are average American citizens who have to fight for a job, put food on their table, this, that, who have had healthcare issues, that they're actually going to turn them against
It is
the
going to
system
be really hard for them to
if
pick a
they keep
jury.
this up. It is going to be difficult. If they keep rabble raising right there and overcharging him and making this more than it is, they are running the risk of starting the the actual perception of a revolution in our
Well,
minds the way they
the
don't
other
know.
thing too, though, I mean, how many? What is it? Some like is it 50,000 Americans go into medical debt every month,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
or file for medical bankruptcy every month?
Absolutely. They
And
do.
good luck trying to find somebody who hasn't been affected by the healthcare industry that is not going to look inside with the whole with Mangione on this. That is
Mm-hmm.
where their biggest problem is going to be. That's what the prosecutors are going to have to fight against, is the little man who's been screwed by
Mm-hmm.
by the healthcare system. Now the defense is going to have a hard hell enough time trying to keep the rich people off the
From
jury that
thinking,
don't give a shit about what the healthcare does because they can afford it.
well, also they're going to portray Mangione as a rich elitist left wokeist with extremist tendencies, a terrorist. Like
Yeah.
you betcha, they are like against the status quo. Like not like us. Like he ain't like you or I or anyone else. He could
Yeah.
afford his health care and everything. Who is he to take a gun on the one guy at United Healthcare who was trying to give you health care? Like, no, no, no. There's a lot of research into the denial rates over at United Healthcare, and unfortunately,
Oh,
Luigi has been said to have done all this research, and they found documentation that he was like speaking about this, in his posts and stuff, the
oh yeah.
places, but
United
he was
Healthcare, crooked as hell.
But he wasn't calling for riot. Like he wasn't calling for
Uh,
people to raise up and start killing people. I don't
nope.
see that in anything he was talking about. It is no worse than some of the political commentary I see there every single day.
Yeah.
I
And
hear worse
I've
things.
I've read his so-called manifesto, and there's nothing calling for anything like that.
Exactly. I've heard worse thing out of YouTubers' mouth right here on YouTube than I did
Yeah.
in there. Like, not from us. I mean,
Shit,
from
I've heard
others.
worse. I've heard worse than this today.
Exactly. Right. All you have to do is turn into the news half the time. Like, no, I
Yeah.
believe it. But Jay, this has been so great. I'm so glad to have you back. It's so nice to have somebody to talk, like expand the conversation with. And these are
Mhm.
tough cases. So I hope
These
that you
are
will.
both. Yeah, we definitely picked some tough ones to come back to.
No, but I really think it would be good to put all of these pictures that you were talking about with Mangione
Mhm.
together, and we should do something soon on that if you're willing, or if you're
Oh
going
yeah,
to on
no,
your.
no,
I think it's a great idea. Do it with me. Do
no,
it by yourself. Do it for us though, because I'm
no,
sure
no.
everybody in that chat and listening later is going to want to see it. Like, I think it's important that we pull it all together for
Yeah, I
everybody.
think we definitely need to look into the actual evidence that they have on
If
Mangione
they would
because,
actually disclose it, yeah.
well, let me rephrase that. Look at the evidence that they have provided us.
So far from the media,
So far,
not
yeah,
to
that the
anybody else, but
media
just
has
from the
provided
media.
us
Yes,
because we
because
haven't.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, we don't even know if what they got in Pennsylvania is actually going to make it to the trial. If that gets
yeah,
tossed, so does the evidence.
yep.
Everything we got.
And then all they have to go
Fruit
on
of the
is
poisonous tree.
yeah,
Yeah.
the fruit of the poisonous tree, and then all they're gonna have to go on basically is what they could found in New York, and they got to prove that it was him to start with.
I
So
know. That's it. Like,
yeah,
but this was fun. Yes.
yeah,
Oh, thank you, Mippy. You see that? She said, "Thank you so much, Jay." Look, you see,
yeah.
Mippy's glad to see you back too. So that's it for tonight, people. I think I'll give you the last words there, Jay. You want to tell anybody like what your plans are or anything like that, or
Okay,
just go?
so bear with me, but I will have. I'm working on a set of videos. Um, it's for True Serials, kind of called Mysteries, Myths, and Malifications.
Ooh,
Um, and I don't know how frequently they're going to come, but they will come in that order. We'll start with a mystery, then we'll move to a myth, and then we'll move to a malification, and then we'll start the cycle back over again.
you know.
I got a new computer, so all my old computer is yeah. So I basically starting everything from scratch. My
Mm-hmm.
true serial that you see here up on the thing, I actually had to take that from a screen grab from one of my old
You
videos off
should
of
have
YouTube.
contacted me. I have your avatar. I could have sent it to you.
Do you?
Seriously. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
I
that
do. I
yeah.
usually say, I'll go look.
If you still have that, you could send that to me. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'll send it to you in
um.
Discord. It's easy to copy. But yeah.
Uh. I don't know about Discord. I haven't been on Discord, and it wanted me to log
All right.
in, and I don't remember anything about the login. So
Okay, I'll send it in. X thing. I
Yeah,
think we
that'll
were.
work. Yeah, I think
But,
yeah. And then so just to give you guys a heads up, the mysteries. So the mystery will be the first video that will pop up, and I think the first mystery I'm looking at is, and Raven's gonna love this one. Is there any truth to the missing 411s?
oh, okay. Ah, see, well, I think everybody's going to be looking forward to it.
And
But you
she
know
just
what,
goes,
Joe? It don't put any pressure on yourself. It takes the time it
nope.
takes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that from being out here. Like just enjoy it. Do what you want
yeah,
to do. We'll all enjoy it when you come,
yeah.
and that'll be great. But on that, like
Well,
I think we'll.
I'm hang on just a second because there's a little bit more.
Oh, okay. I'm
Then,
sorry.
so
Yeah.
I have my first three planned out. So I have mysteries. We're looking at the missing 411. Is there any legitimacy to the missing 411? The second one will be myths. That'll be on Persephone. I actually have my daughter helping me with that one, the myth of
Mhm.
Persephone. And the third one, Malefications, I'm actually going to dig a little bit deeper into Rex Heuermann.
Oh,
I'm gonna
okay.
I'm gonna get into that. So those will be the first set of three. Like I
That
said,
sounds
I'm
really
starting
psychological
I'm
profile.
starting from scratch with a brand new computer. So it's gonna take a little bit of time, but those are the three that will be coming out at some
They
point.
great titles, great subjects. I'm sure everybody will be looking forward to it. I hope have fun with it, Jay. Take
Yeah.
your time
Yeah,
and
I am not going to I probably won't be as prevalent as I was before, but I will be around. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. I'm
Mhm.
in a good place. Me and Raven are in a good place. I said I've got
It's good.
some new setups and everything. I feel better other than
That's
this
good.
nagging cough that I've had for the last month. Good news, I
Oh,
went to the doctor today. It's not pneumonia. So
that's good. That's good.
but
That's
yeah,
very good.
other than that, basically the only place you can find me right now is on X under True Serial.
Hmm.
I don't have the Discord right now. I mean, you can email me, but other than that, yeah, just pretty much on X. Or I hate calling it X. I only call it X
I
because
know.
that's what I
I
look up.
call it
It's
Twitter
freaking
all the
Twitter.
time. I know it's Twitter.
Yeah,
Like,
it's Twitter.
because we still tweet, right? What do we do?
Yeah,
X? Like,
you still tweet.
no,
Thank
I
you, Miss
still tweet.
Cassandra.
Yep. And thank you very much, Mrs. Cassandra, for dropping the
Yeah.
link. I was just about to pull that up. I'm grateful, but we'll keep
Oh,
talking, Jake. This is
and
great.
so if you guys that are new and don't know me, I highly recommend going to Claire's channel, scrolling down and finding the playlist that she has for the John Bonet case that
Oh
we did.
yes, we did too. We did some
I
Jack the
highly
Ripper.
recommend it. It's 7
Mhm.
episodes or was it 8?
Yes, it is. Also
7
our
episodes.
Nexium coverage from Heretical.
Nexium. Yeah, you have all the Nexium videos too,
Oh
don't
yeah,
you?
I do because
Yeah.
Chris let me do that. Like
Yeah.
I listed them all. They did it.
Yeah. So
We
yeah, if
have
you
them.
want to if you guys are new and not sure about me, check out those videos. Check out the playlist for Nexium and check out the playlist for
We got
Jean
to do an
Bonnet, and
update.
you'll get
We
a
got to
really
do an
good feel
update
for
on
how
John
me and
Benet.
Claire actually work together.
We do need to do an update on John Benet. There's been some stuff. Yeah.
Nothing that interests me.
How about the Ripper stuff? That didn't.
No,
Me
no,
either.
because
I said
the
bollocks when I
if you're
heard it. I
talking
went,
about
I looked at it.
if you're
Yeah,
talking about the Jack the Ripper, I can debunk that in 30
I know.
seconds, but I'm not going to do it
Exactly.
today.
Yes, yes, because that DNA would not hold up in New
No,
York. They could
not fucking at all. For one, and for two, no, I don't care. Even the London police at no point ever has auctioned off evidence from a case ever.
exactly. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all.
Yep.
Like I really don't. And besides, I had heard about it the year before, and now all of a sudden it's brand new. Like today, like a week or so ago in the
Oh,
news, and like I heard about it a year and a half ago. Like no, it's not.
so
Like this is
Jen,
the story.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Jen
Yeah.
actually brought up a good point. Some of the dwarf videos were awesome. That's actually on my other channel, the
Hmm.
Nevermore Tavern, and I do plan on doing some React videos over there, but I have no idea when those will be coming.
All right. In
So
the description for this video, I'll grab both channel links and I'll be putting them down below. But on that, I think we're going to call it for the night. Everybody, don't forget to like, share, comment, about this case or any other case. Hit the back of the videos on,
yep.
whether we're doing a good,
Make
whether
sure
we're doing
you tickle all them buttons.
Yes, do all those YouTube things. And for those of you that are following Lori Vallow, we will be live again tomorrow morning for the full day. And I will be putting up the video of the rest of the stuff that happened today. Well, thanks,
And
Jake. This is
and
great.
and
It's so good to
for
have
the
you here.
first time in a long time, be water, my friends.
Ah, yes, be water. Thanks, everybody.
Ooh, Raven got bingo.
Oh, congrats, man. Congrats there, Raven. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.